I'm Anthony Reid from the Geological Survey of South Australia. Today I'm joined by Marina Costelloe and Angie O'Rourke from Geoscience Australia. Geoscience Australia is the national level geoscience agency and is a very important partner of the Department of Energy and Mining here in South Australia. Thanks very much for joining me. Marina, could you just tell us what you do in Geoscience Australia?
Yeah, hi. I'm currently acting branch head of the Mineral Systems branch at Geoscience Australia. I support a team of experts whose work underpins this resource investment in Australia by supplying pre-competitive data, information, geoscience knowledge, and decision-making tools. So the resources industry can use those, so the geological surveys can use them, other government agencies and academia. We work closely with these groups to ensure national coverage, stepping geoscience from the national down to the regional and to the deposit scale. But in the Exploring for the Future program, my focus is on minerals, the minerals resource sector, critical minerals, and of course the integration of science between energy, minerals and groundwater. And I work with Angela O'Rourke.
Yes, hi everyone. I'm Angela O'Rourke. I joined the Mineral Systems branch at Geoscience Australia 3.5 years ago, where I'm the Director of Regional Geology and Drilling. So put simply, the Regional Geology and Drilling team aim to open up new covered exploration frontiers and producing provinces. And we do this through collaborative, regional scale, multidisciplinary geoscience and stratigraphic drilling projects.
Fantastic. It's great to hear from both of you. Thanks for being with us. Marina, really the topic of our discussion today is around the Exploring for the Future program. Marina, could you just give us an overview? What was the broad remit of the program and how's it been rolled out?
Great question. A fantastic opportunity to tell everybody about the Exploring for the Future program. It's the Australian government's $225 million geoscience initiative led by Geoscience Australia, dedicated to using pre-competitive geoscience to better understand Australia's mineral, energy and groundwater resource potential, to boost exploration investment, and the focus is particularly in Southern Australia. The Commonwealth Government provided $100 million in support of the first phase of the program, 2016 to 2020, in recognition of the resources challenges that Australia faced. And it was amplified in Northern Australia's white paper, developing Northern Australia, which was really important, which was part of the early phase. Much of our current resource prosperity is based on discoveries and developments from decades ago and in geologically well-known and relatively well-explored areas. So in a world looking to mineral and energy resources to drive transition to low-emission energy sources and high-tech communications and manufacturing, it's a major challenge. So we aim to stimulate exploration, support new discoveries in all areas across Australia. But at the moment, with EFTF 2020 to 2024, we want to particularly focus in Southern Australia. The goals of EFTF also align to the National Mineral Exploration Strategy and the Uncover Initiative.
Thanks, Marina. That's a fantastic overview of the idea of there being a couple of different phases now of the EFTF. Angie, perhaps I could ask you now then, what has been the focus areas of the first phase of the EFTF? What sort of key data sets have been collected in that first phase?
Sure, Anthony, happy to. So the EFTF program acquired data across Northern Australia during the first phase of EFTF at a range of scales, so from the craton to the regional scale. It also acquired a diversity of different data sets, so including geophysical, geochemical, geochronological, isotopic, lithological and structural. The data sets that we did acquire over much or all of the North Australian craton included AusAEM, which is an airborne electromagnetic survey spaced at 20 kilometres. And that's really helping us to characterise the cover and constrain cover thicknesses. We also acquired AusArray, which is a passive seismic data survey acquired at stations approximately 55 kilometres apart to help us characterise the seismic velocity structure from the base of the plate to the crust. And AusLAMP, which is a long-period magnetotelluric data, also acquired at a similar spacing to help us characterise the resistivity structure from the lithosphere to the crust. So at this craton scale, The program also delivered seamless solid geology coverages, and just last week we released a North Australian craton scale iron oxide copper gold mineral potential assessment.
Yeah.
But I also mentioned regional scale data acquisition, and the focus area for this during the first phase of EFTF was a region from Tennant Creek in the NT to Mount Isa in far northwest Queensland.
The Tyser area, right?
That's right.
Yep.
It became commonly known and referred to as Tyser.
Yep.
The area was really chosen because of the vast underexplored extent of unknown mineral potential concealed under the Barkly tableland. And that was really wedged between two outcropping, endowed, sort of well-known mineral provinces in Tennant Creek, and also the Carpentaria Zinc Belt.
Yep.
So it really presented an opportunity to apply a range of different tools and acquire a range of new data sets, then to integrate that with the legacy data to map the mineral energy and groundwater potential in that area.
You then have had follow-up from those initial big-scale geophysical programs of regional mapping and so on, integration of existing geological and isotopic constraints. But I also know that there's been stratigraphic drilling, which is being undertaken right now as we speak.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's right. So GA, we're participants in MinEx CRC's National Drilling Initiative, which is also referred to as the NDI, and we're currently partnering with MinEx CRC as well as NTGS to drill 2 National Drilling Initiative campaigns in the Barkly region. So both of these drilling campaigns were targeted by GA from EFTF data, and they're using conventional drilling methods at this stage. So NDI Carrara 1 is a deep stratigraphic borehole into the Carrara subbasin, which is a newly recognised subbasin within the South Nicholson Basin that was imaged in the South Nicholson Deep Crustal Seismic Reflection Survey during the first part of EFTF. So this is the first borehole to characterise the stratigraphy of that new subbasin, and will really allow us to understand the resource potential, I guess, from both a basin mineral potential as well as hydrocarbon potential. So that borehole's going really well. MinEx CRC reached over 1,500 metres depth today.
Wow, that's a great milestone.
It's progressing well towards its target end of hole depth of around 2 kilometres.
Wow. Yep, great.
And we're also partnering with MinEx CRC on a second NDI drilling project in East Tennant. So this was an area where we off the back of integrating a range of different geophysical and geological and geochemical data sets in the first phase of the program, we were basically able to identify, really using integration of passive seismic, AusLAMP and potential fields data, we were able to recognise an area east of Tennant Creek, which was basically what we believed was mapping lithospheric scale architecture as well as potential fluid flow pathways in an area undercover east of Tennant Creek stretching towards the Queensland border. And that's what we ended up referring to as the East Tennant Project. So we're currently now drilling with MinEx CRC there. We designed up to 10 stratigraphic boreholes to generally less than 500 metres depth to answer a range of stratigraphic, structural and mineral systems questions in that area.
Wow, how busy you must be at the moment pulling all those, there's a lot of drilling happening at the same time. That's really quite amazing, yeah.
Yeah, it's an exciting time to see that drilling finally happening and the results that we have been seeing in the holes. We've just started the 7th borehole and we're aiming for 10 in that area. The results are really confirming our view that this is a prospective frontier area. So that's very exciting for the team to be involved in that. And we're aiming to get the QC borehole data out to the public as soon as we can. That'll most likely kick off in January sometime next year.
Fantastic. Angie, what would you say are some of the key outcomes or some of the big achievements of the EFTF program so far?
Hey, good question.
Big question.
I feel like it's a big question. I feel like there have been so many great outcomes and achievements from the program. I think a highlight for me would be seeing GA make some really great improvements in our stakeholder engagement and really ensuring that the work we do has tangible benefits for a broad range of stakeholders. Also, the program's generated, I think, approximately 250 data sets, and these data and models have now been delivered through a new data discovery portal, making them more easily accessible for a broader range of our stakeholders.
Super important.
Yeah, so important. There have also been a great, in terms of the approaches we've taken, I feel that there have been achievements in that space. So we've been developing new approaches to data integration that have highlighted, high quality new frontiers like East Tennant, as well as providing new scale reduction approaches that industry can take up and use in their own project generation. And there have also been a great deal of science achievements, so geoscientific outcomes, things like the program revealed that the extents of the South Nicholson Basin are much more extensive than previously thought. The discovery of the Carrara sub-basin in the South Nicholson Basin, which I mentioned earlier. The program led to improved modelling of the lithosphere-asthenosphere boundary and the recognition that all of Australia's basin-hosted base metal deposits occur within, I believe it's 100 kilometres of the 170 kilometre plate thickness contour. So that sort of insight is really helping reduce the search space for basin-hosted base metals in the country.
Certainly throws up a lot of ideas about where else you might want to be looking. I mean, some of those key outcomes are really quite impressive,
Absolutely. And then I've also talked about East Tennant. I think the recognition of this undercover extension of the prospective basement rocks in Tennant Creek, potentially opening up a new exploration fairway for future discoveries. And also a lot of the work has highlighted more potential for basin-hosted copper in the Greater MacArthur Basin than has been previously thought.
Yeah. So some of these basins that otherwise were looked as almost like cover themselves are now being revealed for their mineral potential from their own side as well. It's really quite impressive to see.
A key highlight, and I think one of the greatest outcomes of the program, this first phase, is the uptake of the new ideas and data by the resources sector.
Great to
see. We've had a great deal of positive feedback from the resources sector, and we've seen an incredible level of tenement uptake.
Yeah, I remember you showing me a map just recently where you could see before and after kind of images of the tenement uptake in those regions. I think it's very impressive, and it's really a testament to the amount of work that's gone into the program. Fantastic. Marina, could I ask you now, we've heard this year about the extension to the EFTF program. Perhaps you could tell us a little bit about the context for that extension and why is the federal government again supporting this EFTF program?
Yeah, I think Angie summed it up really well. There were some really amazing outcomes from the first phase of Exploring for the Future. Really, if you like, world-class results, really a lot of impact and a lot of take-up from industry. So a lot of success, I think, evidence and the return on investment. We did a return of investment, outsourced that to ASL Allen, and found that the program itself had basically paid for itself with tenement uptake and continuing exploration. To find that within the lifetime of the first phase of the program was just phenomenal. I wanted to say just now, if it's okay, we really value the feedback from the resource industry, particularly when they note our work in the ASX announcements. It really matters. It helps us understand what they're doing, how we can better help them, and also contributes to being able to quantify what kind of impact we're having. So with that great news that Angie sort of summed up really well, the extended program basically aims to continue that support for the resource and agriculture sectors. I think we haven't really talked about that, but obviously groundwater is a really important focus there. And it supports sustainable regional development. Now, in the context with the ongoing pandemic, COVID-19, supporting jobs and the resources industry, agriculture sectors and remote communities, I guess it's just never been more important. So that's where we're heading with this. But just to touch on some of the priorities of the new program, if that's okay.
Of course, please do.
The expansion of the program. So the whole program will still be called Exploring for the Future. We can quantify it in, the first phase or second phase, but we've got the focus. It's like flipping the first phase on its head, and we're doing a similar amount of work across southern Australia. But in addition, we have these two transcontinental corridors, one on the east and one on the west. And these are opportunities for regional deep dive studies. Now, the existing geological knowledge of these corridors, if you like, indicate that both areas are really prospective for minerals, including critical minerals, energy resources, groundwater, and with significant potential for agriculture. And we're looking to focus our efforts in cross-jurisdictional frontier areas and work in areas that we think will have the greatest impact. So people are like, oh, why are you flying that airborne electromagnetic survey here? Because it's going to have a huge impact for you. As with the first part of the program, we're planning lots of data acquisition, a lot of pre-competitive data to be released within the program, and also some regional studies that will look to holistically improve our understanding of basin architecture, lithology, basement, the inter-basin relationships, groundwater, so that we have a really good understanding of what's happening in that geospatial location.
Fantastic. Angie, now that this program is starting to be rolled out, then perhaps you could give us a bit more of a feel of some of the science focus areas in this southern region that GA is now focusing on.
Absolutely, Anthony. So as Marina mentioned, we are still planning and scoping the program, and we have been consulting with the geological surveys and with industry over the past few weeks on that. And we hope to have it all scoped up sort of by the end of this calendar year so that we can kick off some of the work in 2021.
Exciting.
But in terms of the science focus areas, I think Marina alluded to the fact that we'll continue to build towards the new national coverages that are really key to helping Australia attract our global share of exploration investment. You might expect some of these broader national coverages to occur across South Australia. But also focusing at the regional scale where we can unlock new frontiers for exploration and support discovery, as well as characterise groundwater to support sustainable industry, as well as drought-proofing communities. So the regional scale geoscience projects would be focused most likely in those east and western corridors, so the east and west of South Australia, and would occur as collaborative projects with the Geological Survey of South Australia, as well as neighbouring geological surveys. And those cross-border projects would bring to bear a range of new data sets and improved data coverages. For example, tools such as deep crustal seismic and AEM, and where necessary, stratigraphic drilling. And all those data acquisition activities that we do undertake would be designed to answer science questions that aim to support an integrated assessment of the mineral energy and groundwater and resource prospectivity. So that might include science questions that relate to the fundamental first order questions about the geodynamic evolution, and as well as science questions that are more focused towards answering regional geology questions about stratigraphy, architecture, and ultimately resource prospectivity.
Fantastic. Well, it's certainly been a great experience to be involved in some of the discussions between Geoscience Australia and the Geological Survey. South Australia, also Victoria and New South Wales and Western Australia. It's been a really amazing time to be part of that building of this next phase of Geoscience Australia's work. Very happy to be involved. Of course, the Department of Energy and Mining and the Geological Survey we consider Geoscience Australia one of our most important partners in this, in delivering pre-competitive geoscience. So we all really look forward to working with you and delivering more fantastic science outcomes for the benefit of the resources industry in South Australia, of course, but actually the resource industry across the country, because we all benefit from the resource industry as well as agriculture and so on, those groundwater as well. So thank you very much for your time, both of you. It's been fantastic to hear GA's work, and we really look forward to hopefully seeing you sometime in person again one time, and hopefully maybe at Discovery Day next year. Thanks very much.
Enjoy Discovery Day.
Happy Discovery Day.